Imagine a coastline on the Atlantic, a map of Angola filling the frame. Luanda on the west, forests to the north, savannas stretching inland. For 4 centuries, this was Portugal's oldest African colony. By the 1900s, Angola's rubber, coffee, diamonds, and oil were feeding Lisbon's empire, built on forced labor and control. Here's the twist. While most of Africa moved toward independence after World War II, Portugal insisted Angola wasn't a colony at all, just an overseas province. That denial lit a fuse. Protests spread, underground movements formed, and then, boom, the war began. February 4th, 1961, Angolan nationalists stormed a prison in Luanda to free political prisoners. Days later, the countryside exploded, especially in the Baixa de Cassange region in the north. Portuguese forces struck back brutally. Tens of thousands of civilians were killed. The armed struggle had started, and there was no going back. 3 movements stepped onto the map. MPLA, the Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola, led by Agostinho Neto. Marxist, urban roots, backed by the Soviet Union and Cuba. FNLA, the National Front for the Liberation of Angola, led by Holden Roberto. Supported by the United States and Zaire, now the DRC. UNITA, the National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, led by Jonas Savimbi. Early backing from China, later the US and South Africa. These groups weren't just fighting Portugal, they were competing with each other, setting the stage for a future civil war. Throughout the 1960s and early 1970s, the war spread, guerrilla fronts in the north, then the east and southeast. Portugal threw in helicopters, commandos, and a fortified grid. It had tech and training, but not time, not money, and not the hearts of the people. Angola's struggle was part of Portugal's larger colonial wars, also raging in Mozambique and Guinea-Bissau. Repression grew, resistance grew faster. Then, the real turning point didn't come in Angola, it came in Lisbon. April 25, 1974, the Carnation Revolution. Young Portuguese officers, exhausted by endless wars, toppled the dictatorship. Overnight, policy flipped from hold the empire to end the wars. Decolonization kicked into high gear. By 1975, negotiations tried and failed to unite Angola's factions. On November 11, 1975, the MPLA, led by Agostinho Neto, declared independence in Luanda.